Hey, welcome everyone. Yeah, so today's topic is going to be on exploring options for TIBCO Spotfire in the cloud arena. So we are going to just quickly go through the confidentiality disclaimer and the agenda. So the agenda for today is, we'll briefly talk about the TIBCO Spotfire cloud offerings. What are the different options we have, and the various roles, in TIBCO Cloud Spotfire. How do you manage, for people who already are on cloud or would want to are curious about how to manage this in the cloud Spotfire environment. We'll just go through it quickly. And you might have questions around, the web client versus install client. We'll just go briefly on, talking about the key differences between the web client and install client. And also, what is it? What is the difference between managing the roles in the TCS? I'll use the terms TCS and TSCE a lot. TCS is nothing but the TIBCO Cloud Spotfire, and TSCE is the TIBCO Spotfire Cloud Enterprise, which is a single tenant hosted environment. And also, an important topic that we are going to just briefly talk about is the migrating from an on-premise to a TIBCO Spotfire Cloud Enterprise, which is the TIBCO hosted single tenant cloud enterprise environment. And also, we will, this will be, somewhat applicable in general to customers who might be thinking about moving from an on-premise setup to a cloud that is hosted, internal to their company. And of course, we'll take questions. Feel free to post any questions you may have. We'll get to the Q&A session at the end. We can go through those questions if they're unanswered. Okay, so moving forward, so we have TIBCO Cloud Spotfire, which is one of the multi-tenant offering that we have. It's a multi-tenant hosted cloud, so you have it's a software as a service that we provide. So TIBCO pretty much provides, takes care of all the installation upgrades, monitoring and administration, etc. So the reason why I say multi-tenant is because you'll have, this is a kind of setup where multiple customers connect to this environment and do all the analysis and etc. On this environment. So this is, you have web-based analysis where you can just use the web player to consume those analyses that have already been created, or you can also author. So meaning you can create new analysis on the fly on the web player. And also, we do have support for web-based JavaScript APIs that you can use here. Just keep in mind that, when you talk about APIs, these are the APIs that are fully supported by TIBCO are the ones. You can use those on the fly here in this environment. And we do have Windows client. We call it the TIBCO Cloud Analyst as well. If you want, if you have users that want to do advanced authoring, so some of the challenges that you have with web player, authoring on the web player are pretty much taken care of with the Spotfire Analyst. Not to mention, this is, you have annual or monthly subscriptions by named users that you can actually purchase with credit card or a purchase order as well. So that's TIBCO Cloud Spotfire, which is a multi-tenant setup. And we have TIBCO Cloud Spotfire Cloud Enterprise, which is a single tenant offering. It's one of a kind where we host the cloud environment for each customer. So as I said, it's a single tenant setup. So every customer will have their own set of Spotfire environment, Spotfire cluster of machines in that environment. Again, this is pretty much, I mean, an offering, a software as a service offering, where we take care of the installation, upgrades, monitoring, administration, etc., which is very similar to the typical cloud Spotfire. And we also have web-based access for administration analysis, and then and also you can use JavaScript APIs. And you have a Spotfire Cloud Analyst that you can use to author analysis too. An important aspect to this, I mean, a few other touch points are you can use custom extensions. Of course, you need to use the officially supported APIs by TIBCO Spotfire that you need to use, but you can certainly create your own custom extensions here in this environment. This is a dedicated capacity. As I said, it's a single tenant, so every customer will have their dedicated environment in this case. And also there's a regional deployment option. So if you're in the US region or a Europe region, it doesn't matter. I mean, we have a regional deployment option too. And custom isolation. So, I mean, in a multi-tenant environment, I mean, there are, although it is kind of secured, I mean, all the content, the library content and everything is secured, for specific customers. Here, I mean, the library is totally separate. I mean, when we say separate, I mean, this is specific only to your environment. It is as similar of a cloud setup as that you would have in your company with within your hosted environment, similar to that. And you have, I mean, you can actually set up connection to your data sources, etc. That is specific to your company through the VPN tunneling. So those are some of the things, I mean, that you can do so that you consume your data, you view your data, very secure way. And also, we do support enterprise SSO. There are, there's a single sign-on option with, OAuth that we do support. We'll get to that in a bit too. And again, this is available as an annual subscription by named users. So it's something that you might want to consider if you're actually going for a dedicated cloud environment that is specific to your company. And then we have Spotfire for AWS. I'm not going to talk much about it, but this is this is an offering where you're actually either billed annually or even hourly based on how much you use. We just give you a bundled Spotfire server environment that that you can purchase and start using. You'll be up and running in no time. And of course, TIBCO Spotfire. So we have this offering as well, where the TIBCO PSD can pretty much help in installing Spotfire in the cloud. They can also manage and also pretty much do the migration part and everything. If you are interested in setting up your own cloud too, which will be very similar to the on-premise setup that you have, but everything is on cloud, right? So that's briefly about the TIBCO Spotfire cloud offerings. What we have. Moving on, we'll talk a bit more, in detail about how you do things within the TIBCO Cloud Spotfire, and in comparison to Cloud Enterprise offering. Those will be two things that we are going to compare today and talk a bit more on that. So roles in TIBCO's Cloud Spotfire, for those of you who are already aware of various roles that you can set up and role-based licenses that you can set up in Spotfire. TIPCO Cloud Spotfire offers you with three different roles: a consumer, a business author, and an analyst. And you can see what each one of these roles can do. It's a very simple and a short matrix. There is, of course, a whole lot of documentation around it. If you go to our doc site, I'll put the link. I'll provide the link later too. Yeah, so this is a very brief introduction of the roles in TIPCO Cloud Spotfire. And just a note here, the TIPCO Spotfire cloud environment, the cloud enterprise, it's very similar. I mean, the roles that you manage within TSCE is very similar to how you would do it on your on-premise setup. We'll just go through that in a bit too. And yeah, so what are the key differences between a web client versus installed client? You need to be aware of, there are the key differences here, because the web client, there's not a whole lot of things that you can do, but yes, it is certainly powerful, and it is getting more powerful over the years. You can view, author, and edit analysis. You have access to data from Salesforce and Google Analytics, and you can also work with any data connections with a lot of supported data sources that are actually available for Spotfire Analyst, which is the professional client or the installed client. So yeah, there's a link here to that actually shows you the list of data sources. We can just quickly take a sneak peek. Yeah, these are all the pretty much the supported data sources. There's a whole list which you can actually go through, and this is increasing by the day. And okay, let's switch back to perfect. Okay, yeah, so this is the that's the main thing that you can do within the web client, and versus the installed client, you have a bit more leverage in terms of the variety of data sources that you can actually connect to, etc., and also the various transformations that you can actually set up. And do predictive modeling as mentioned here. So it just gives you a bit more leverage in terms of how you would want to visualize your data, and be able to create more powerful visualizations and analysis that can be published and consumed via the web. So that's the key. I mean, those are the key differences. A very high level key differences, I would say. And let's jump on to managing roles in TCS versus TSE. Again, I'm just using these terms TCS and TSE here. It's TCS stands for TIPCO Cloud Spotfire, which is the multi-tenant cloud offering, and TIPCO Spotfire Cloud Enterprise is a single tenant dedicated TIPCO hosted cloud environment. So yeah, coming to TCS, it's very easy how you assign the roles and etc. So I mean, you'll have, this is a multi-tenant environment, as I mentioned, and so every customer will have a team administrator, and the team administrator is usually the one that invites new members, assigns licenses, whether it's consumer, business author, or analyst, depending on how you named licenses that you purchased. Depending on that, you'll have those many named user licenses available, and based on that, the team administrator will go ahead and assign those licenses for those users. Or invite those members and assign those licenses. So you can just quickly, just take a look at this. So if you see this, I mean, this is just my user ID, and I'm a team administrator. I can pretty much assign the licenses. Okay, this guy will just, this user will just be a consumer, for example. all right? And it'll also show you a quick snapshot of how many named users you have and so on. But yeah, it's very easy to assign the roles here, and based on the one of the charts that I showed earlier, uh, the roles will actually tell you what capabilities these users have, basically. Yeah. So coming to TIBCO Cloud, Spotfire Cloud Enterprise. Well, this is the managing roles here is very similar to your on-premise setup, meaning well, you'll have access to the administration manager. You'll have access to the Spotfire analyst, just similar to how you would have as an administrator on your on-premise environment, but connecting to this cloud instance. Well, you can either do this through the administration manager in the Spotfire analyst, or even or even through the UI, where you'll log in as an administrator and be able to manage licenses for specific groups. For example, I'll just go to one of the groups, and you can pretty much see all the licenses assigned to this user group. And you can disable or enable whatever you want to do with. And of course, the library administration is still managed via the Spotfire analyst, where you set up what access, what kind of access users or groups will have. User groups will have on the library content is something that you still manage as a library administrator, but you'll have the full leverage, to assign who the library administrators are and so on. So it's pretty much similar to your other setup. I mean the on-premise setup. Yeah. So this is the Spotfire analyst. This is the similar functionality that we saw with the licenses that you saw on the web when you log in as an administrator. So yeah, coming back to the managing roles. That's the that's the key difference between the TCS and TSE. So very important thing to note is TCS is a multi-tenant offering, where you have many customers who might have an account and are managed accordingly. I mean, they have a specific set of folders that they have access to in the library, and so all the users whom they assign as part of who are provisioned access will be able to view only those set of folders in the library, etc. Whereas TSCE, you have a bit more leverage. You have it's very similar to your on-prem setup, just that the machines are actually hosted on cloud. So this is very similar to if you want to set up your own cloud hosted environment in your company, then it will be a very similar setup. Just that we'll also talk about that in a bit, but the only key difference with TSE and a cloud hosted environment in your company is that for TSE we manage everything. The SRE team, or the team that manages the cloud environment at TIBCO manages or takes care of everything on TSE. Whereas in your hosted cloud, it's you who'll be able to who'll be doing all the work, starting from installation, configuration, upgrades, etc. So yeah, we'll talk a bit on migrating from on-premise to TSE, which I want to again point out that although we are saying that this is pretty much a checklist, a very high-level checklist in terms of what do you need to look at when migrating from an on-premise environment to the TSCE environment, which is the TIBCO hosted cloud, single tenant cloud. or these are very similar steps that you will take. The checklist doesn't change. Big deal when you want to move from your on-prem environment to your own hosted cloud setup. So just quickly going through the migration checklist, for TCE especially, the authentication methods is very important here. In your current on-premise setup, you might have varied authentication methods that is supported on on the Spotfire server for an on-premise deployment. But for when it comes to the TSCE, there are only a few authentication methods like the basic database, LDAP, and of course the OpenID using OAuth 2.0. These are the various authentication methods currently supported on the TIBCO Spotfire Cloud Enterprise environment. And also, basic authentication methods for ODBC and JDBC data sources are supported. You need to you need to probably just reintrospect in your environment as to what are the various data sources that you guys connect to, and are these actually something that will be supported on TXE is something that you will consider. And of course, exporting and importing of the library content from your current on-prem environment to the TIBCO Spotfire Cloud Enterprise. It's a simple exporting and importing of the library content. Not much difference there. VPN connection and tunnel configuration is very important because we are talking about the TIBCO hosted cloud environment here, and so if you would want to set up basic LDAP authentication, for example, then you need to be able to set up access to your LDAP server from this environment. So it involves a bit of VPN connection, configuration, or maybe some ports have to be open, etc. And the same goes for some of your underlying data sources. When I say data sources, these are pretty much the data sources that you currently connect to in your on-premise environment. Using Spotfire Analyst or Web Player, I mean, you pretty much are consuming data that is stored within your company setup. So if you would want to move to a TSCE kind of a setup where the Spotfire server and the node exist on the TIBCO hosted cloud, then you need to make sure that the tunnel is configured correctly to be able to connect to these underlying data sources once you import the library content into the TSCE setup. We also have, we do support co-branding, so you can certainly configure co-branding, and also custom extensions are supported too. Considering the fact that for custom extensions, you need to make sure these are fully supported APIs. The TIBCO's fully supported APIs is what you need to use to build these custom extensions. And also, this is this is a scalable setup, is what I wanted to mention. So just like in your environment, like in your hosted environment, you might want to scale up the systems, scale up the Spotfire servers, I suppose node managers. You want to scale it up and down depending on what the usage is, like how many users are on the system, how many analysis files will it actually take the load, etc. Similarly, in the TSCE environment as well, I mean, you can definitely scale it, add more servers, or remove servers, etc. I mean, so it's a scalable setup is what I wanted to point out. And what about the installation configuration, upgrades, and security patches? All those good stuff. I mean, we take care of all of that. So I want to specifically point out the TIBCO's SRE team, which is the Site Reliability Engineering team, is the one that does all of this work for you. All you have to do is just probably work with us to be able to set up the VPN tunneling, etc., for your various data sources, etc., and probably some of the configuration. Like for your LDAP or OpenID, etc. Then we can certainly work through with you to set that up. So it will be the SRE team and the TIBCO support teams that will coordinate with you all to set this up. And again, this is, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, this is very similar to the cloud environment that is hosted, within your company as well. Just that, you will probably definitely go through each of these phases with even the VPN connection, tunnel configuration, etc., to connect to your underlying data sources or any other sources within. So it's pretty much similar. Just that, I mean, you might have more options in terms of the authentication methods that you can use within your company, because so for example, I mean, if you have Kerberos authentication currently in your environment, in your on-premise, and you are moving to cloud, if it's your hosted cloud, you can still be able to use Kerberos as long as those machines that are actually hosted are on your domain and supports single sign-on that way. So yeah, in a nutshell, I mean, migrating from an on-premise to cloud setup is not difficult. It's not I mean, it's definitely it definitely involves a lot of work, of course, but you know how it is done, basically. I mean, you know what are the things that you will take care of. Yeah. So coming to the end of this presentation, now we have a few resources, few links that I've actually posted here as well, so that you can actually use. We have a good documentation around some of these stuff. Let me actually bring that up. Yeah, so the documentation around the TIBCO Cloud Spotfire is pretty extensive. So it actually gives you a lot of information around what you can do and how to set things up, etc. And for TSE, as I mentioned, it's very similar to your cloud for cloud setup in your company. So it'll be very similar to that. So there's no specific thing that you can or cannot do there, except for if it is the TIBCO hosted single tenant environment. Then you have certain things that I pointed out that you have to consider during the migration process.